Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We have made it to the final session of the EdTech Institute. We are so happy that you have stuck with us for these 2 amazing days of learning. I know my head is full of ideas, full of things that I want to follow up on and learn more about that I didn't know about and learned as well during this institute. So we hope that you got something out of it as well. And as we've been trying to explain to you in the chat, it's not about taking every single thing that was shared with you over these 2 days and starting tomorrow. What we want you to do is just take 1 or 2 nuggets, get started, really start to learn that product and implement it and start transforming how you teach. Then come back and grab another one and another one and another one. So you don't have to keep, go and be instantly using everything that you learn. So, and of course, our team is here to help you in any way we can. So always don't hesitate to reach out to anyone on our team to help you with that as well. We'll share more of that at the end. As always, again, this session is being recorded. It's live on YouTube and will be recorded. It will be available after as well for you to watch. And again, as in every session, attendance will be at the end. We will share your attendance form at the end again. You have the chat box on the right that I think after 2 days, we've kind of figured out where the chat box is. I know some people they just can't handle the chat box because they're too ADHD, and that's totally okay too. But for those of you who like the chat box, please feel free to share that information with one another. Share your ideas with each other. That's what we're here for. Find a friend and start learning together. We also have moderators in the chat. They are the people with those little wrenches. They're from the EdTech team, and they are here to ask most of the questions, mostly because we're coming from the future, so it's harder for the presenter to answer questions. It's about a 20 to 30 second delay, so we thank you for that as well. Once again, we would love for you to subscribe down below and like this video too. Let's get this one over 100 too. Every video today we've gotten over 100 likes, and we're still chugging along on getting those subscribers. We are up to 2,072 subscribers. So maybe if we get another 28 today, we could hit 2,100. That would be amazing. So please feel free to subscribe, because that's going to be one of the ways you can get the information of what we're doing later on this year from our channel. That's how you'll know what we're doing. So subscribe and like, and then also don't forget the hashtag is EdTechChat. Please feel free to share your learning environment, where you're learning from this session. Take some pictures. We want to see what you're doing. Share what you're learning as well. But please feel free to add that hashtag too. Carla will also give you her Twitter handle when we get there. So please feel free to tag her in your tweets too when we get to that point. Again, this is our last session of the day. We've had a long day of great learning and total fire hose of knowledge, especially the last 2 sessions. This afternoon, they kept us woke. That's for sure. That fire hose was on high for sure. And again, sorry, the Twitter handle is not EdTechChat. Sorry, it's EdTechPBC. It was right on the screen. It was wrong out of my mouth. So I was reading in too many different places. So EdTechPBC. So again, thank you yesterday for those 10,000 views. You have already smashed that number already of we're up to almost 23,000 views over the past 2 days. So that is such a cool thing to see. Again, we'd love to hit 2,500, but if you can at least get us a 2,100, that'd be great. 100 likes for each video. You guys have been awesome with that. And again, on our website, which is edtechtraining.com, you can click the Institute site on the left. That's where our recorded videos are. So we have them as actual playlists on the website, It's the same Institute site that you joined to click each of the ones to get here. And you'll see on this screen in yellow, it's circled. That's how you click to expand the playlist of all the different videos. You can always go back to the title of the video and click to join again. Those same links work as well to get to the video, the replay video. So either way, you can get there. And so with that, it is my great pleasure to welcome a friend we met in the Apple Distinguished Educator community. Her name is Carla Jefferson. She's an instructional technology coordinator in Darlington County School District, which is in South Carolina. And her session today, she's going to be talking about equity, access, and opportunity, and talking about the digital equity, making sure everyone has a chance. So with that, I want to bring up Carla. Thank you so much for joining us, Carla, and you can take it away.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I am so excited for all of you. Professional development is my favorite thing to do and to participate in. So I'm really excited to be here with you today. So I want to ask you a few questions. What if students were allowed to demonstrate their learning by creating projects that allowed their personality to shine through almost as much as a standardized test does? What if there was a way to level the playing field and a student with autism, a student who has a full scale IQ of 48, and students that were considered mid to low level learners could tell you all about Julius Caesar in a music video?
Carla, I'm going to jump in real quick. Don't want to interrupt. Quick question. We're not hearing your volume because you have your AirPods in. Would you prefer to hop out with your AirPods and just use your internal mic?
Yes, I will do that. I'm so sorry.
Okay. No, that's okay. I figured you wanted us to hear the volume, so I just wanted to see if that would be okay. Okay, perfect. So go ahead and just swap that real quick. Just a quick costume change while she puts those away, and her mic should pick up. All right. Give her 1 second while we're getting her slides ready. Sorry about that. And if you'll, Carl, you're muted now on StreamYard. I can't unmute you. You'll have to come back into StreamYard and unmute yourself back in Chrome. There you go.
Is that good?
There you go. Now I can hear you. And just make sure your volume's turned up so the video volume will come through your internal mic.
Okay, gotcha.
Sorry about that. Go ahead. We'll let you start over. Woo! Go ahead.
All right. So, what if students were allowed to demonstrate their learning by creating projects that allow their personality to shine through almost as much as a standardized test does?
Now we're lagging again. You got it?
I think so. For some reason.
Technical difficulties. It's totally okay. We are so used to this in the digital age, right?
Yeah, I'm going to.
You got this weird thing on another camera too. But go ahead, try again. There you go. That might work.
Let's try to restart it.
There you go. That's the only way to do it, right? Turn it off and turn it back on again. I bet you've said that quite a bit recently, right?
Oh, all the time.
But that's from a TV show called IT Crowd. For anyone out there, it's a hilarious video if you're a techie person. It's British humor.
Okay, all right, here we go. I'm sorry.
So go ahead and reshare your screen with us. Wait, we need you to reshare your screen with us, though, in StreamYard. Okay. Come on back into StreamYard.
Somebody says she's an Apple Distinguished Educator. She's not that bright.
StreamYard's not an Apple product. It's okay. Doing video over this is tough. Okay, go ahead and try again. Let's see if this one works.
All right.
There we go. Perfect. Can you turn it down just a hair? Perfect.
Is that good?
Yep.
Okay. What if there was a way to level the playing field and a student group comprised of a student with autism, a student that had a full-scale IQ of 48, and 2 students who were considered mid to low-level learners could tell you all about Julius Caesar in a music video?
Julius Caesar raised his stock to rags. From poet to dictatorship was so fast. Don't lose your grip or you might get killed. Julius Caesar went down with a dive.
So here are some things you should know about me. You should know that I come from a family of advocates and educators. My paternal grandparents, my mom, a host of other cousins were all educators, and we all believe that education is the key to a transformed life. My family's father were sharecroppers, so that means that they farmed the land that they lived on for rent. And when it was harvesting season, it was all hands on deck. So everyone in the family had to participate. My grandfather ensured that my dad, his brother, and his sisters still continued to go to school. And he would also travel from house to house to ensure that all of the children in the community continued to attend school as well. My dad would tell of a time that my papa left school in the middle of the day to confront a neighbor who refused to send his children to school. Papa Malloy said, "Now, John, I need these children at school tomorrow. They can harvest in the morning before they come to school, and they can harvest in the afternoon when they get out. But I need to see them in school tomorrow. And if I don't, you will have to answer to me." When you hear stories about my grandpa, who died before I was born, you would think that he was 6 foot plus, huge man. He was barely 5'6". But his conviction and the power of an education made him 10 feet tall and bulletproof. My father was an Air Forceman, minister, a community organizer who worked tirelessly to improve the lives of the people where we lived. As the executive director of the Community Development Corporation of Marlborough County, he and his team were able to provide credit recovery training to first-time homeowners, internet access to students after school, as well as income tax filing for free. My dad believed in the need to locate and fight for the resources needed to support, improve, and revitalize the community in which he lived. And so if you haven't guessed by now, I am a daddy's girl. Here's something else you should know about me. I did not expect to start crying at the very beginning. I'm sorry. I'm going to suck it up in just a minute. I believe that technology has the potential to change the world. It has the power to transform teaching and learning by ushering in a new model of connected teaching. This model links teachers to their students and their colleagues, and content and resources and systems to help them improve their own instruction and personalized learning. In 1988, my dad brought our very first computer home. The Tandy 4000 was what my brother and I used to type our research papers, print them out on that dot matrix printer, if any of you are familiar with that. slide them into those True Trend clear plastic report covers, and proudly hand them over to our teachers. Mavis Beacon teaches typing. Who's heard of that? That's how I learned how to type, and that Tandy 4000 was my first taste of how technology could make things easier in a way that had never before been imagined. And here's the last thing that you should know about me. I am an instructional technology coordinator for the Darlington County School District in Darlington, South Carolina, and I'm very proud of that. And I am a huge fan of digital equity. I believe that digital equity is not an option. Now, digital equity, that's a phrase that we've heard right now, especially in the means of COVID-19, and depending on our situations, digital equity is probably more prevalent now more than any other time in the world. When you hear the words digital equity, what does that mean to you? So if you feel comfortable, drop those ideas in the chat. What does digital equity mean to you? In an article by Zach Quaintance, digital equity refers to whether people can access and effectively use the technology necessary to participate in modern society. For me, digital equity consists of two bold ideas: access and opportunity. Do students have access to the technological tools necessary to be successful? Do they have devices? Do they have adequate Wi-Fi? But also, do students have the opportunity to use technology in a way that pushes their boundaries through classroom and life experiences, rigorous standards, and innovative teaching? Let me tell you a little bit about our darling town, as we like to call it. We are the home of the track that is too tough to tame, the NASCAR Darlington Raceway, and the Sweet Potato Festival. Our primary source of income is farming, and we are a student population of approximately 10,500 students, 1,300 or so faculty and staff, 23 schools, and we're one-to-one with MacBook Airs in high school, and we're one-to-one with iPads in grades 4K through 8. We are also 100% free and reduced lunch. And when people hear that, they think, how do you do that? And it's all about the mindset. We changed our mindset to change the world for our students. So the videos that you saw in the beginning of the presentation, those were projects that my students had done after we became one-to-one. And so you see, technology has always been a part of my life in a way that is meaningful and purposeful for students, with content and pedagogy being the focus. But it didn't start there. In 1997, I became a sixth grade teacher at Sycamore Lane Middle School in Laurinburg, North Carolina. And before that, I had been student teaching third grade. So I told you that my mom was an educator, and I had hopes and dreams to be an elementary teacher like she was. But I'm sure, like many of you, my student teaching experience wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. And so at the end, when I graduated, at the end of that experience, I really was second guessing myself as to what I wanted to do next. My best friend, her father was a guidance counselor at that school, and he called me and he said, "Are you looking for a job?" And I said, "Maybe." And he says, "Well, we have openings. We'd love for you to come and apply to try to work for us." And I thought, sixth grade, I don't know. I didn't do so well with third grade. I don't know if sixth grade is going to be any better. But what I learned was sixth grade was my niche, and it was the first year of middle school for them. And I was afraid, but they were also afraid. And I figured out that they were afraid before I was afraid. And we had a phenomenal time. But also, even starting there with technology, I wish I had kept the floppy disks of the PowerPoint presentations that my students had created of famous African Americans and artists and musicians and world leaders, and hear their 11-year-old voices narrating their thoughts and ideas. So we got a computer lab in 1998 in an open classroom, and it was supposed to be shared by the grade level, but nobody wanted to use it, so I did. And so, like all the time. And so there we were able to continue to create projects. We did skill practice with USA Test Prep. We did Jeopardy games to help remember content and to get ready for whatever assessments were coming on. And we also played, and if you know the ending, I want you to say it with me. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? How many of you all remember that? And so you can see technology has always been a part of my life. And early on, I valued all of the ways that technology can enhance the learning experience. So in 2010, after spending 5 years out of the classroom, I returned back to my sixth grade roots. I believe that we are put in places for a purpose, and I was placed at Spalding Middle School for a direct purpose. After having taken a hiatus from technology because my old job was more of an office administrative job, I had a lot of catching up to do with technology. And I jumped in feet first. And that courage changed the course of my life. Now, like John said earlier, you don't have to jump in feet first. You can put a little toe in and inch your way in. You just want to start moving forward. So we had a laptop cart that we were supposed to share across the ELA department. But again, nobody really used it. So it stayed in my room and I loaned it out if anyone really needed it. And so we started blogging to showcase our reading and writing. And we used Vokies to create digital artifacts for our research and so much more. And under the vision of our executive director, Diane Sigmund, we were able to convince our school board and our community that our students can compete in today's society given the proper tools and resources. And her favorite quote has always been, "Why not Darlington?" And that has resounded with all of our stakeholders and paved a path for our students. Her vision 10 years ago was a laptop cart in every classroom. And then in 2012, the Darlington County School District e-learning committee was launched. And with other teachers, school districts, and district administrators, we developed a plan that, if I say so, was visionary. We embraced the concept of the 21st century education. Creativity, collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and adaptability are key components in our classrooms, as well as our day-to-day operations. In 2013, we started out with a pilot program called ITEL, Interactive Technology for Every Learner. 73 teachers across 20 of our schools were given an iPad card to use in their classroom. In order to gain the card, teachers had to participate in professional development over the summer. But in addition to that, their administrators, the school level administrators, had to participate in that professional development experience as well, that focused on teaching, learning, and leading in the digital age. Because what we do know is that leadership plays a huge part in how we move forward with the way technology is used in classrooms. So our school decided to submit a proposal as a team. Each of our sixth grade students had an iPad that they used all day in school. And when I say we decided, that really kind of was like me bullying my teammates to submit the proposal. But anyway, it totally transformed our lives. And so I want you to take a look at some of the things that students were able to create with just an iPad.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, you big girls won't take you far. Not east for love, it's the only way to be. Being drug-free is you and me. This is our chance, and we're here to say, if you do good, you should stay away. Even for the thing you go older than you are, it be easy to my friend, a car. Even though it may be tough, no hope, don't fuck, just stay away from the truth. This is our class, we're here to say, being drug-free is the only way. Wait! I choose to be drug-free. We choose to be drug-free. We plan to be drug-free!
So all those students could have talked about it and discussed it with each other. They could have created posters that they hung outside of the school. Think about this that they created that now lasts forever on YouTube. So in 2015, I became the instructional technology coordinator for the Darlington County School District. That's right, in 2015, it was just me. And when I was given the job, my boss said, "What are you going to do to tell our story?" And I said, "I'm going to showcase the work that we do. And we're going to document our journey so that we will always be able to see how far we've come." And so in 2015, we initiated my dream, which is a conference, technology conference for our teachers. And so we had about 250 teachers to come in on a Saturday to learn about teaching and learning and technology. And so we had guests come in to have conversations. We did scavenger hunts and goose chases to track our experiences. And we used social media to share how we felt about the technology conference and what we learned. And that sparked a wildfire in our teachers. So 250 teachers attended, but when they went back to that school, that sparked a learning for all of them. So if a teacher would share what they were learning in their sessions, their PLC sessions, or a teacher may walk by and see students doing something interesting, it sparked a fire. And so they wanted to learn more and they wanted to try it out too. And so now our last conference boasts around over 700. We started with teachers. Now we do classified staff as well as administrators, and we provide day-long professional development for them right at the beginning of the school year now to get a spark on the start. The Transformation Conference was our biggest yet.
Well, you can say some 700 teachers and staff in Darlington County got ready for a new school year today by going to school themselves. The Digital Transformation Conference kicked off in a year, focusing on the technology and other new tools that will be used in the classroom.
That includes teachers, instructional assistants, as well as administrators and school level staff who are here just to find out ways that they can engage students and enhance what they're doing in their platform.
So our 2019 conference hosted more than 30 concurrent sessions, and 95% of them were led by our own teacher leaders. These last 2 years, we've also sponsored a conference playground that hosted activities revolving around student creation and critical thinking, so green screens, robots, podcasting, etc., and an expert lab where attendees could spend time working on information gained in an earlier session with support. That year, we also implemented the Digital Transformation Academy. 45 of our best and brightest techie teachers meet monthly to collaborate and share ideas, build resources for their classrooms that become accessible for other teachers. And they also develop professional development for the teachers in their school. They participate in educational certifications and challenge activities. So for example, we expose them to like project-based learning activities that they can then turn around and do with their students. Breakout EDU, build a car, and then they also work on their educational certifications. For the past 5 years, 95% of the members of our Digital Transformation Academy have earned their Google Level 1 or Level 2 certification. and our Apple teachers. And teachers also work in collaborative groups to design content appropriate lessons and professional development resources so that they can go back to their schools to better support their teachers. It has really been a successful experience. And these teachers that we work with in the academy, some of them, one of them is, two of them are now my colleagues, and all of them are teacher leaders within their school. And they're also the teachers that we use for our technology conference. So you have to think about 2015, our very first conference, where we had 250 students and probably 60 to 70% of them were teachers in our district. We pulled friends and resources from outside to help us to provide sessions. Now transitioning to 95% of our teachers, if not more, leading sessions. And in addition to that, we also have principals that lead sessions, and guidance counselors and media specialists. So our media specialists do a session on green screen to help other media specialists and teachers learn how they can use green screen in the primary classroom. We also encourage our teachers to participate in the big things. So like the Global Read Aloud, has been created by Pernille Rip, the Hour of Code, Digital Learning Day, and also Apple Teacher and Google certifications. And so we provide incentives for our teachers who participate in those activities. Certificates, stickers, and a sign outside the door goes a long way. And every teacher in our district that earns their Apple Teacher certification gets a free Apple Pencil. And right now we're at about 350 teachers out of 700 that have earned their Apple Teacher certification. My colleague Rhett Hughes and I host a weekly podcast called DCSD Transforms, and you can find that on iTunes or Podbean. And Rhett and I have a great time showcasing powerful tools, amazing things that teachers in our district are doing, and keeping everyone in the know. And so I just want you to hear for just a minute the greatest theme song that has ever been made. It's supposed to last those 10 minutes? Wrong. It's not 10 minutes. That's what I was saying. So if you want to know who's singing, I don't know. We actually use the app Diddy to create the podcast theme, which unfortunately is no longer available. And so when Red and I started, we started the day after our very first not the day after, the week after our digital transformation conference. Red and I have been colleagues since the beginning of the ITEL pilot. We taught the professional development graduate course for our teachers. And so he is a huge podcaster, and he kept saying, we should do a podcast. I'm like, dude, I don't know anything about podcasting. He said, we should do a podcast. I said, okay, sure. Well, in 2015, when I took my current role, now my office is within walking distance of his school. And so we walk over, either he walks over to me or I walk over to him, and we podcast. Our very first podcast after the conference, he said, we should do a podcast. And I said, you're right. He said, when should we start? So let's start Monday. So Monday, we met in the same room that I am in right now. And I had taken a napkin and I had written out ideas about what I thought we could do or the format of what it should look like. And so we looked at that, we made some adjustments, and we got started. And then after we recorded, we did the research on how to create a podcast. But by that Thursday, episode 1 of DCSD Transforms podcast was being spotlighted and showcased on iTunes. So that goes to show you some of it is fear. And so we just forgot about our fear. We stepped out and we made a change. And now we're around episode 150. So definitely stepping out, facing fears, moving forward was key for us. So it sounds great, doesn't it? Is it perfect? Heck no. When COVID-19 happened, we were actually in the middle of our preparing for what we call e-learning for inclement weather days. So being in Florida, you know a lot of what South Carolina is like. We don't have snow days. We do have hurricane days like you do. And in South Carolina, we may have like low temp days. So if it's in the teens, we may have a 2 hour delay. If it's in the single digits, then we're probably staying home for the day. And we were preparing to get our schools ready for what would happen if we were out for e-learning. We had scheduled meetings with our schools that we were going to pilot with, and we were ready to launch it that next Monday. And we got a call from our superintendent, said, scratch that, we're doing a whole scale, everybody, because we probably have about 2 weeks before we're all out because of COVID. So I'm sure you can imagine what that was like for us. Super fun times, right? We worked with our curriculum and instruction team. And so what is beneficial for me is that I am a part of our technology department, but we're also a part of our curriculum instruction and assessment. And so we collaborate frequently to try to see what teachers need instructionally and how technology tools can support that. And so about 5 days later, we were all home. And of course, there were glitches, and we thought of a lot of things. So we initial plan had K2 students only doing paper packets. But if we're never coming back, what does that look like? And then we had some schools that had really fully embraced technology and some that were still with their toe dipping in. And we got thrown into the deep end quickly. And so we set up a hotline, a technology hotline for parents, students, and teachers to call if they needed support. And we offered lunch and learn sessions for our teachers. And the first week, I'm sure you can imagine what the phone calls were like. And I had a mom call me and she said, what's your name again? And I said, I'm Carla Jefferson. And she said, well, Miss Jefferson, I'm about to take this iPad back to the school. And so we had to talk people off the ledge of their fear and talk them through the process. But as we ended the school year, the feedback that we got back from parents was extremely positive. So again, is it perfect? Absolutely not. And I'm sure they're all fears that we have to deal with. There are barriers that we all have to face. So let's talk about what some of your barriers may be. Drop them in the chat. So if it's anything like the barriers that we face, and I want to take a look at the chat for just a minute. Oh, progress, not perfection, Sarah. You are exactly right. And that, as a matter of fact, that is what we told our teachers and our principals and our curriculum leaders as we left out of the school. Progress, not perfection. And so I'm sure your barriers are the same as mine or ours. So, for example, our barriers were, let's see, does this sound familiar? Standardized test score stigma. Like, my kids have to practice on their standardized test practice because if not, our scores aren't going to be well. Overcoming teachers' fears, like our own fears about, and I think I saw where someone said, kids know more than I do. And they are probably right because there are kids that know more than I do. Feeling overwhelmed and stressed on top of the other problems and other issues that just come from being an educator and sometimes a parent and a spouse or a caregiver, in whole. Lack of devices and access. And then also money. That's always the problem, especially now because COVID has affected our economy so bad. We are struggling to figure out like where money's going to come to fully fund just our school systems. So welcome to the club. We all have those same fears. I want to share an example with you. So in this picture, and I'm going to try not to cry again, is my best friend, Susan. Uh-oh. That's Susan with my daughter. Susan and I met in 2010 when I went to go work at Spalding Middle School. She's my math partner and she became my best friend. And her son is also my godson. So in 2014, she came to me and she said, I think the kids should do an hour of code. And I was all for it until she told me that she wanted us all to do it during our advisory period and that she wasn't just going to do it in her math class. And I was like, sure, that's great. But I mean, like, Susan, you know me. I can barely teach math. I know nothing about coding. How in the world am I going to provide this experience for my students? And so she said, don't worry, it's step by step. I looked over the content in the curriculum. It's so easy to do. And I trusted her. And then the other part that I thought about was, what if I didn't provide that opportunity to my students? What would they be missing out? My friend Susie, who teaches self-contained, moderate disabled students in middle school, does Hour of Code with her students every year. These are students, again, whose full scale IQs are below 70. And so, yes, they struggle to read and write, and they struggle with math, and they struggle with communication. But she has students every year that flourish during the Hour of Code. And if she had never given that opportunity to her students, we may have missed out on an opportunity to hone in on something that a student is successful with. So, again, we did the Hour of Code. The kids loved it. I learned right along with them. And in some cases, they surpassed me. So if a student would say, Miss J, I'm stuck, what do I do? And I would look to see where he was and where I was. And I say, oh, I'm stuck too. Maybe we should ask Tyra for help. And so we worked together to learn how to code, but also how to think critically. Because coding isn't just about coding, right? It's about thinking critically and thinking outside the box. And those are things that we have to encourage our students to be able to do. So again, yes, access is important, devices and Wi-Fi. But I also want to talk about if we don't all have devices and access, there are things that we can do outside of that. And this particular story that I want to share with you now really has nothing to do with technology. But again, it's the mindset. This is my daughter, Cameron. She loves her iPad. She loves her Lala Loopsy dolls. And if you don't know what Lala Loopsy dolls are, you can look them up. I'm sorry, they're the ugliest dolls I've ever seen in the whole world. And she loves music. In fifth grade, she came to me and she said, the band teacher from the middle school came and I want to be in the band. I want to play the flute. Well, Cameron is also autistic. She's on the autism spectrum. She's in a resource placement. And so in our middle schools, in our school district, if she, as a resource teacher, because of they only get 2 electives every year, her 2 electives really should be her resource class, her academic coach, and PE. But I didn't want to fight. She struggled, like she did not start talking until she was really 3. So of course she struggles in reading and writing a little bit. And then also sometimes, that transfers over to math because of word problems. And so she has to work super hard for every grade that she gets. So I fought for her to be able to take band. We finagled it so that we would document our physical education and health in a different way. And I'm so proud I did that because Cameron is a member of, as a seventh grader, Cameron became a member of our Darlington High School Marching Falcon Band. And so there she is in her uniform. And I want you to take just a brief listen to this band and how phenomenal they are.
Once again, we're here to let you know we got the power. Now, check out the precision.
What if I had never given her the opportunity and fought for her to have that music experience? That, for me, when we travel, they look like a college band. They have a phenomenal sound. And he takes middle school students and he cultivates them so that by the time they leave high school, there isn't a college in the area that doesn't want to take them. So again, yes, we know that students have to learn how to read and write and do math. But if we never give them the opportunity to think critically, to create, to communicate, to collaborate, we'll never know what their true potential could be. So for the money part, I say partnerships. And I know right now this is probably isn't the best time to hear that, but we do know that there will be funding coming for remote learning through the CARES Act. And then also we made partnerships with our community. So our school board and our county council had conversations, and what we decided to do was a penny tax. And so that penny tax funds our 2.5 a year $1 million initiative a year. And so the community bought in to what we wanted to see in our students. And they allowed, with that partnership, they allowed us to continue to provide these phenomenal experiences for our students. So today, in closing, I charge you, think outside the box. I think about Diane Sigmund, who said, "Why not, Darlington?" Who envisioned computer carts in every classroom before some schools had computer labs, who envisioned Apple products in the hands of every student, even before it was even thought of. Face your fears. So you may not be good at math like me. You can still expose your students to coding. So you may not be tech savvy. Learn with your students. Allow them to guide you. Be okay saying, "I don't know." Be vulnerable. Let them know that you may not have all of the answers, but you can learn together. Be an advocate. Fight for what's right for your students. Write letters. Create proposals. Talk to your principals. So you may say, "I'm a teacher. I can't buy devices. I can't force that." And you're absolutely right. So be an advocate in your classroom. Think about ways that you can participate in the Global Read Aloud or Hour of Code. Think about ways that you can have students create and share their learning and knowledge. Think about how just a simple video can showcase what they know for students who may struggle to communicate and may not be able to do well with standardized testing. And my very last charge for you today is to change your why to why not. Thank you so much for your time.
Wow, Carla, you gave us so much to think about there. So inspirational. It was just the greatest way to end this 2-day institute. It's just been phenomenal. Your presentation was great. I know my team, we were texting on the back end about, wow, that's some ideas that we can try out with our team. So we've got some good ideas from you, and we thank you so much for that. We're going to drop you down for just a moment, and we're going to do our door prizes, and then I'm going to bring you back up at the end for a final farewell. You can send off our teachers into their summer, but I do just want to thank you from my heart. It was excellent, and thank you for being with us. So it's door prize time, and I want to thank for the last time all of our amazing sponsors, our business partners. They have been so generous with us over these 2 days. We've had multiple door prizes for each session, and it's just wow. Again, you must have participated in the chat at least once in the last 10 minutes for our bot to pick up your name for a prize. If you are selected, please make sure you email Dana Rubenstein by the end of this week. You can only win once, so if your name was drawn beforehand, we will have to pick another winner, and we can only ship to the USA. So unfortunately, my international friends, we can only do the US at this time. So on to the prizes. Our first prize, we can go ahead and pull that in the chat. is going to be a swag bag from Osmo. If you have not used Osmo before, it is awesome. I own all of their games. My kids love Osmo. They have really, really cool educational programs that you can use with the iPad for reading, math. They have a really cool geography one. They have several coding games. It's just super, super fun. So the winner is, I just saw it, I missed it. I thought I saw
Yeah,
it.
somehow Trent pulled his own name. You know.
Sorry,
you need
no
to pull it
moderators.
And Drew Ba, I don't know how to say that word. She won yesterday, so we need another name.
Wow.
Come on, Nightbot. Sandra Margolin.
All right,
I think
Sandra. We good?
I think she hasn't won yet, right? Perfect.
We'll check with Dana, but we'll come back to that if we need to draw another winner. Our next prize is going to be another swag bag from Lock and Charge. So go ahead and pull that winner for us, Trent. Not yourself.
Jeff Vonner.
All right. And this is our final prize for the Institute. That's my drum roll. And it is for a Chromebook from our sponsor, Reading Plus. And the Chromebook goes to...
Well, Jeff Bonner won twice in a row.
Wow.
You have to try again there, Trent. And
What is
looks like Jeff. Yeah, Jeff, I think you may need to try some lottery too, you know?
Yeah,
Cindy,
don't forget your friends in Ed Tech.
It looks like Cindy Toombley won the Chromebook from Reading Plus.
Congratulations to all of our winners throughout the Institute. If you're tuning in now, please make sure you email Dana Rubenstein at palmbeachschools.org. We have just been so happy to be here with you these past 2 days. If you were here, this is our last sign-in for this session. It's bit.ly at ETI attend 2. Someone should be dropping that link in the chat for you as well. If you were in any of our other sessions, that was the same for all day. For PD, I'm sorry, this is for School District of Palm Beach County teachers only. If you sign up in ELM and you do the teacher and student implementation, showing some evidence for implementing 2 skills or strategies that you learned over these 2 days, you have to do the district mandated survey, but you could potentially get 10 points per day for this session. And look who we have. We got the whole team here. Just wanted to bring everybody out from our Ed Tech training team. This team has worked so very hard over the past, I don't know, it's months, but it seems like years to bring this to you. And we are just so thrilled. I'm going to let everybody say a little something before we bring Carla back up. Shu, you want to go?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us. I think it's been 10 weeks, but I'm not 100% sure. From live streams to field trips to careers, we've done just about everything. And thank you to my friends around me. I've grown to know you guys, especially as we've bonded these past weeks as well. But have a great summer, everyone. Get some rest, but also start learning, keep pushing yourself. Everything you've heard these 2 days, share with your friends. Our videos will be there. Keep going back to them. Tasha?
I agree. I'm just so grateful that we had an opportunity to do this for you. And we do mean it from the bottom of our hearts. We appreciate every single thing that you're doing. Get some rest. We don't know what the fall is going to look like, but we are here for your questions. We're here for your questions, and we'll do all that we can to answer them. Dana? Dana, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Thank you everyone for joining us. I was just trying to grab the numbers. I believe we had almost 6,000 people join us live. And then I know there's been over 20,000 views of all of the recorded sessions. So thank you for spending the last 2 days with us. We appreciate your time. And if you need anything, reach out to any of us.
I want to thank our producers, John and Rebecca. They've done some hard work over the past 2 days. John helped bring the solution to us with our friend Tanya, and they've done a remarkable job. We want to say thank you. I want to thank all of my colleagues because we've all worked really hard. And I want to thank you guys out there in cyber world because you guys have rocked it.
This being my first foray into the EdTech training team, I just wanted to thank all of these people here who have absolutely set such a high standard and shown me how to do things the right way, and being infinitely patient with me. And also, if you didn't win anything during the door prizes and such, I'm so sorry, but just please know that you have won as educators my utmost respect. You guys have been amazing and so inspiring with all the ideas, and your enthusiasm is just. It blows me away. So thanks for allowing me to be a part of this.
And we're just one segment of a larger team, so we want to thank all of our team members.
Everybody.
We may have been the face of the EdTech team the past 10 weeks, but we have some amazing colleagues in the background who have been doing a lot of the other end stuff where
Dr.
they
Miller.
don't get their So from JD to Terry, everyone on the team, we appreciate you guys
Dominique,
too.
Dr. Miller, Dr. Atwell.
Right? Don't lose anyone. We got Kim and Mike.
Mike.
We gotta
There we
say
go,
everybody, because Peggy, Coretta, we couldn't have been here without you guys supporting us. So Eric, everybody, thank you so much.
Melissa.
Yes. So please feel free to reach out to us if you need anything at all. We appreciate you guys.
And we'll be back in July.
Yes, we will. So be on the lookout. And with that, we'll bring Carla back up. So I have to pull all you guys down, and then we'll bring Carla back up. Carla, there you are. I still have Dana up here. Too many buttons to click. Before we let Carla share the last word, we also want you to subscribe to our calendar. We have all our events on our Google Calendar that are coming up. So if you go to that bit.ly/edtechcal, capital E, capital T, capital C, that'll subscribe right in your Google Calendar, so you'll know every single training that we're going to be doing coming up here for the rest of the team's existence. So subscribe to that calendar, please, and thank you for all you do. And with that, Carla, we will leave you with the last message.
Okay, so first I want to say thank you to John for the invite. When he called and asked me if I would come in and help and support, I said, of course. I was actually at the grocery store. I wasn't really paying attention and had no idea that this was the keynote. So thank you all for coming in and participating, for hearing our story. Please connect with me on social media. Let me know how I can help and support you. And remember, change your why to why not. It is totally possible. You can do it. Enjoy your summer, take a nice break, and then dive right back in with the learning.